Welcome to PSYWAR Profiles, where we take an in-depth look at interesting individuals or groups that make up the PSYOP regiment.
Welcome back to PSYWAR, the official podcast of the Psychological Operations Regiment. I'm your host, Sergeant Brian Klein. I'm here today because Sergeant Jurgle had to take care of some family business. And with us today, we have Sergeant Shiflett and Captain Disney, both former field artillery soldiers. They've transferred from field artillery to PSYOP, and we're going to find out their story. So we talked a lot about how cool the deployments are and how, the effects of what we're doing. Because like I said, we don't join the Army to practice. We join the Army to make a difference. But let's talk about the home life. Jordan, you said you're a dad.
I am. It's pretty awesome. I highly recommend. But that said, I have a 2-month-old. His name's Ezra. He likes to cry, and unfortunately, he poops himself a lot. So we're working on that. But
at about 2, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
2 months.
2 months. Yeah. But no, it's been phenomenal. With that, just talking about the family life, I could not be in a more supportive unit than what I'm currently in. So when I was a field artilleryman, and for the record, I loved FA. It was actually very difficult for me to give up FA. But that said, when I was in FA, I worked oftentimes till 2000. You mentioned the motor pool. I knew the motor pool better than I knew my office, and I'm an officer. So that was... we were always in the motor pool, even in a blizzard. I remember working with 777s, trying to fix some stuff, and when I was S4 in particular, I was always in the office, no matter what. Versus now, if my son has an appointment, my leadership expects me to be at the appointment because everybody here in special operations recognizes the Army will take it. The Army will take your time. You will be deployed more so than if you're in conventional. And so they protect your time when you're at home. And so they do everything they can to support our family lifestyle. And every step of the way, it's been super supportive. And I can't stop raving about what my family life experience has been here so far. And even when I deployed 9 business days out of the schoolhouse, my unit immediately reached out to my wife. She was pregnant at the time. And made sure that she had everything she needed, constantly fed her information, and was just there, supportive during my deployment and coronavirus. So it worked out. This has worked out phenomenally.
How about you, Chris? What can you say about the garrison life when you're back here?
So garrison life here is, the regiment does a great job of taking care of soldiers. I can give you a story real quick. So I came in and replaced a detachment sergeant that he died. He was killed on a motorcycle accident in Texas. Now, the rest of the detachment was really broken up about it, and it happened before I came in. What the leadership did was they found a conference so that the guy was, his name's John Weekly, may he rest in peace. He was killed on a motorcycle in Texas and while he was on leave. And the battalion and company leadership found conferences that were happening out in Texas and then signed the rest of that detachment, that team up to go to these conferences in Texas so that they could cover the cost of these guys going to John's funeral.
Oh, that is really amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the level of commitment that we have to, one, to making sure that our soldiers are taken care of, and 2, making sure that we still maintain that unit cohesion. Because if you're not taking care of soldiers, you lose that unit cohesion.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's exactly where, so Sergeant Jurgle is normally the host here. He's actually at an appointment with his kids right now. And tomorrow, because he re-enlisted recently, he's taking another 4-day because that's one of the incentives. And all I can do is go to your freaking appointment. I'll cover this. It's not a big deal. I've done it before and I'll do it again. I can't speak highly enough of the PSYOP regiment and the leadership that's here taking care of each other. We get some bad flack occasionally. It's always the bad stuff you hear, and it's always really heartwarming to hear the good stories about leadership taking care of it. When I was an infantryman, if you were a new dad, they were like, yeah, you can have your week of paternal leave, but get your butt back here, and you're working while you're on leave. You're just working at the house, but you're still going to do something.
Yeah. I had my daughter when I was still in artillery.
Yeah.
And my wife and I went to the hospital to go get checked out, and it turned out, she was delayed. She wasn't going to be able to have the baby that night, but we were still at the hospital until 4:00 in the morning. At 5, I had to be at work. So I showed up to work, and they said, well, what's the status on your wife? I said, we're supposed to have a baby in the next 24 to 48. And they said, okay, get in the truck. You're driving out to the field.
Oh, God.
So I drove out to the field, and then later on, my wife called and said, oh, my water broke. Can you get back here? And, I had to go and beg them to bring me back out of the field. So, I mean, here, that sort of stuff's not going to happen. One of the guys in my detachment, I've had 2 guys in my detachment have babies, but one of them had a baby recently, and we made sure that he was taken care of, made sure that his wife felt good. I mean, within our unit, we're very tight-knit. We all know each other's wives. We all know each other's kids. We're very tight. And the culture here for leadership is that if Captain Disney's work, he and I are working together, and I don't help him take care of his family, if I don't do anything to look out for him and his family, when it comes down to mission time, he's going to have family problems. So, I mean, we're trained as soldiers to place the mission first. As NCOs, we're charged with accomplishing my mission, the welfare of my soldiers. So if we assess and select people to be mission oriented, so as long as we're taking care of our soldiers, the mission's going to happen. So that's been the leadership culture that I've experienced here, is that we take care of our soldiers so that the mission can happen. We have high-speed soldiers that come through here that want to go and get after it and get after that mission set. And as long as we're helping them and getting them the family time that they need, the support that they need when tragedy strikes, that mission's going to happen. These guys are going to want to work for that. Yeah. And a lot of our leaders understand that and push for it.
Yeah.
Going back to the pregnancy stories, my wife went into labor on a Sunday, and as he was due on the 22nd of September, he missed his time hack by 3 hours, so we counseled him accordingly. But she went on into labor on Sunday, 3 days prior to him coming, and my company commander, once we realized it was going to be a long labor, I came in, and my company commander essentially, he didn't yell at me, but he told me, go be with your wife. Do not come in again. And my mind was still so regular Army, no, I need to come to work because otherwise I'm essentially AWOL, I'm failure to report. And he's just like, what are you talking about, dude? Go be with your wife. Your paternity leave will start whenever the baby's born. But for the next 3 days, be with your wife. And sure enough, we didn't know it was going to be 3 days. It was a long, long labor. But 53 hours later, Mr. Ezra joined us, and so she's the tardy one in the relationship, so I blame her. But
of course,
and the commander was super supportive. He thought I was crazy for coming into work, but it goes back to what you were saying, where I was just used to that, and at that point, I'd only really been in my company about 2 months because I showed up and deployed. When I came back, I'd been a part of the company, so I'm still used to regular Army culture.
But thank you for joining us for today's broadcast. If you have comments, suggestions, or other topic recommendations, leave them in the comments section below. As always, subscribe to our channel and follow us at PSYWAR on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.